Now, if you stand in a pub and watch people, it's not long before you'll pick up a gag or whatever. And I was standing in this pub the other night, and these two fellas are watching the pub dog, you know, bloody great Alsatian, and it's busy licking its bollocks. You know, like dogs do. And one fella turns to the other and says, "George, I wish I could do that." And his mate says, "Well, give him a biscuit, he might let you." Talking of pubs, I was in the States last year and... Yes. You've licked his bollocks, I know. As I said, talking of pubs, I was in the States last year and they don't have pubs out there. They call them bars. You've got single bars, double bars, whatever. And anyway, I'm sitting there having a few bevies and minding my own business, and I heard these three coloured birds, big, you know, the big coloured birds. They were talking, you see, and they were comparing their husbands. And I thought, I'd listen to this, you never know, you might pick up a few hints. So one turned round and said, "I calls my man Long John, 'cause he's got a long John." Hallelujah, right on. And the second bird turns round and says, "I calls my man Big Dick, 'cause he's got a big dick. Why, he just puts it in and crawls towards you. Hallelujah." You're a bit slow. The third bird turns round and says, "I calls my man Courvoisier." And one of the birds says, "Courvoisier? Why? Isn't that one of them fancy liquors?" And she says, "Yeah." Now, hopefully, we all like, you know, we all like true-to-life stories, and if you've met a fancy liquor, right. You are a fancy liquor. Yeah. I wouldn't sit next to him, dear. As I said, using the English language, we can illustrate and make fun out of all kinds of things, and if we can use comedy as well as educate, it's much better. So I like doing it with stories. Now, there was these two old people, you see, the old dear's home, and they'd been there 10 years, they're about 70, 75, and it was the old Darby and Joan dance, you see. And so the two of them having a dance, and he says, "I don't fancy you." And she said, "I don't fancy you at all." He said, "Well, look," he said, "we're a bit too old for all that come back for a coffee lark, aren't we?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, look, let's go back for a fuck." So she says, "All right, I'm with you." So they go back to his place, you see, and he said, "Now, come on, we're a bit too old for all this, you know, fumbling on the bed kind of thing. Just take the clothes off and get on with it, eh?" He says, "Yeah, all right, I'll do that." So he peels off his gear, and there's all those long johns and in vests and things. She peels them off, and the old horrible nightshirt that she wears, you see. So they get on the bed. He said, "Listen, what do you fancy doing then? Anything you want to do, we'll do it." So she said, "Well, my old man, he never do a 69. He said, "You mean a soixante neuf?" She said, "Yeah." He said, "Right, we'll do a soixante neuf." So half an hour later, after they crawled on top of each other, then it's all over and done with, and he's lying there. And he moves her ass to one side. He says, "It's a shame about the Titanic, innit?" So she turns round and says, "What do you mean?" He says, "All them people drowning." She said, "Yeah, I suppose it is, but why did you bring it up?" He said, "Well, it's on that bit of paper stuck to your bum." Now, you can't beat the two typical London drunks, you know, both crying into their beers. Now, one turns to the other and he says, Harry, do you like your women with long, saggy tits? And he says, no, I don't. And his mate says, with fat, horrible guts? And he says, no, I don't. And a wrinkly, scabby arsehole? And he says, no, I don't. He said, well, then why are you fucking around with my wife? He knows. You've had a scabby arsehole. Anyway, he says, how are you getting on with her then now? Getting plenty of it, are you? And he says, no, mate, no such luck. I'm sick and tired of making love to me right hand. And he said, well, don't you play the lover? He said, what do you mean, lover? He said, well, don't you kiss her? He said, yeah, of course I kiss her when I'm pissed. He said, no, don't you kiss her all over? He said, all over? He said, yeah, all over. No, I fucking don't. He said, you should do, because they love it. It gets them going. And he says, you sure? He said, of course it does. It gets them raving. He said, right, I'm going home. I'm going to give that a whirl. So he goes home, see, middle of the night, pissed as a newt. He climbs the stairs up. And he sick all over the cat. He says, blimey, I don't remember eating that. He goes in and there she is, lying in bed, hair curlers, grease all over her face, plucked all her eyebrows, you can't see any of them. You see, and he goes, right, he takes his clothes off, he says, yeah, got a kiss all over, right. And he kisses her forehead. Nothing. Each eyelid. Nothing. He then says, that cunt, he was having me on. So he's kissed her on the nose. Nothing. On the lips. Nothing. You've all done it, haven't you? On the chin. Nothing. And he's kissed both tits. Nothing. So he's kissed her on the navel. Nothing. He gets further down, he looks down, he says, Jesus, there's that fucking cat again. Somebody's cut the poor bastard's throat. Cool. He said, I'll give that a miss. So he goes a bit further down and kisses her on each kneecap. She opens one of her eyes and says, if that had been a pub, you bastard, you wouldn't have gone past it. Anyway, the same bloke, he thought he'd try a different approach, see? Now, we all know our women are really suspicious characters, aren't they? I mean, you try and be nice to a woman and they start being suspicious. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, they query everything, don't they? So Harry goes home with a great big bunch of flowers. Hello, darling, I'm back. What does he get? I suppose I've got to open my legs for those, haven't I? And he says, why, haven't you got a vase big enough? I bet you waved the wand in the Albert Hall. Anyway, now let's take kids. They're funny, like, aren't they? They're growing up so fast nowadays. They seem to have an amazing grasp of life. Now, there's this little boy, you see, he's 9 years old, and he's in Soho. So this copper comes up. It's about 12:30 at night, and this copper comes up. He says, hello. He says, hello. He says, what are you doing here? He said, I've come to see one of the ladies of the night. He says, what? He said, I've come to see one of them ladies of the night. He said, how old are you? He said, I'm 9. He said, you're 9 and you've come to see one of the ladies of the night? And he said, yes, I have, officer. He said, but why at 9 years old have you got to come and see one of the ladies of the night? He said, I want to get a disease. The copper says, at night, you want to get a disease at 9 years old? He said, yes. He said, you know what the disease is called, don't you? He said, yes, I know. Pox. He said, 9 years old, do you want to get pox? He said, yes, I do. He said, well, why do you want to get pox? He said, because I'm going to go home, I'm going to fuck the au pair girl and give it to her. She's going to fuck my old man and he's going to get it. He's going to fuck my old lady. She's going to get it. She's going to fuck the gardener. And he's the cunt I'm after because he killed my fucking frog. Think about it. Now, looking around amongst you, and the average age has got to be... 12? I was going to say 9. Because the way you look, you've got it. It's got to be... I'm not looking at you. Sorry. I'll look over there. Anyway, what I was going to say is... school's changed a bit now, isn't it? Because when we were all at school, it was different. Nowadays, the kids can say whatever they like, right? Now, the teacher's at school, and she says, now then, children, we're going to do the alphabet. And she's got the ABC on the board now. And she says, now, I want a word beginning with A. There's little Alf in the front going, arseholes, miss, arseholes. So she ignores him and says, yes. The little girl goes, antelope, miss. Very good. Now, I want a word beginning with B. Bollocks, miss. Bollocks. So she ignores him. Binoculars. Very good. You know what the next letter is, don't you? Now, I want a word beginning with the letter C. Oh, cunt, miss, cunt. Gotta be cunt. No, Constantinople. Very good. Now, I would like a letter beginning with D. Oh, miss, I know. Oh, miss, I know. So she's thinking, there can't be any dirty words beginning with D. She says, all right, Alfie, a word beginning with D. He said, a dwarf with a big prick and hairy bollocks. So the teacher thought, well, we should better change the subject, you see. She said, well, children, take out your school books and the pencils. And he says, I ain't got no fucking pencils. I said, no, Alfie, if we're going to talk in the English language, I have no pencils, he has no pencils, we have no pencils. He said, who's got the fucking pencils then, miss? So she tried to change the subject yet again, you see, and she thought, well, OK, children, it's general knowledge. It says, now, children, what do they put on top of a church steeple? And Wendy says, a weathercock, miss. Very good, Wendy. And do you know why it's called a cock? And Alfie ups and says, is there a cunt up there, miss? The wind will blow through it.